This is Josh here from Inside Wrestling Truth. The next interview I'm about to bring to you is the Psycho Kid. This is a dude I grew up with before I knew anything about independent wrestling. He was a damn good wrestler. He's a good man, a good husband, and a good father. Check out the Psycho Kid.
You know, the people just hated the Kentucky Sluggers. You know, there were times when we had to have the sheriffs escort us to the highway. You know, because we had a big sticker on the front of the car that said Sluggers. You know, we drove a great big yellow banana boat and just traveled all the time. And, you know, it was easier for us because we had a group. You know, there was 4 of us. You know, we had brought Jerry Crowder in. Him and Bergen looked a whole lot alike. And so we dressed him as a slugger. He was slugger number 3. And we did the spiel where, you know, guys we'd be battling, you know, Cuz would powder out of the ring, roll up underneath the ring, and Jerry would come out. You know, we got a fresh guy.
Okay.
You know, we'd do some switcheroos and tags, and it's going over good. We went and did a audition for Jerry Lawler, and you know, he loved the gimmick. He wanted us, but we were just too small. You know, back when I first started wrestling, all they wanted were big guys. You know, there was no short, you know, luchadors. And if there was, very few, and most of them stayed, you know, Southwest. You know, Texas, San Diego, you know, and everything was going good, man. We were getting a lot of gigs. We wasn't making a whole lot of money, but we were starting to get it to where we could at least, you know, pay for gas and eat. And I had a guy come to me, man, and really helped me with my career, and it was Madman Pondo.
Okay.
You know, he come along, he said, son, you've got such good talent, man. I'd love to try to help you get, you know, really out there and where you can really start making some good money, man. He thought of this gimmick. You know, they were doing the Asylum for TRWF and Top Rope Wrestling Federation, which my cousin ran, he owned, you know, and we were doing all the whole slugger thing was kicking off. We was making enough money now. We were opening our own show in Jeffersonville, and there was a lot of people that just gave us break after break just to help us get our names out there. But Cuz was a little older, he was a little slower, you know, and Madman Pondo came to me and said, man, you could really fly if you broke off into singles and do your thing. You know, I got a great gimmick for you, you know. And so the Asylum was at the TRWF, and me and the Sluggers, we were the 3-way tag team against Manslaughter, Ed Morbid, and Madman Pondo. Well, they took me, drug me out, Pondo pile drove me 2-3 times through a table, you know, breaking 2-3 tables, pile driving me through them, and picked me up and put a Psycho shirt on me, and Psycho Kid was born. You know, I joined the Asylum. You know, I was no longer in my right mind. You know, I was living in a nut house. You know, when I came to the ring, it was straight jackets, collar. You know, I had a guy, the judge, he was getting me out on furloughs. I was wrestling. I was really starting to you know, take off, and I started wrestling for, God, so many different organizations, you know, just everywhere. You know, my buddy Izzy High, you know, he was a big part of getting me places that I wouldn't normally got, you know, because people didn't know the Psycho Kid. And then once we got the Psycho Kid out there, and he was starting to, you know, really draw crowds. You know, I was wrestling every weekend, you know, maybe sometimes through the week, and I was holding belts, and, you know, I was really out there having a ball, you know.
Did you follow wrestling as a kid coming up, or just something kind of?
I watched it on Saturdays, you know. I watched Dirty Dutch and Jerry and Bill and the Jarretts, you know, and you know, watching USWA on Saturday morning was just, you know, and then come on, you know, we started watching WWF back then, and I got to a teenager and kind of slacked off. I had other things to do.
Right.
And then my cousin had a son, Robbie, and every Tuesday we got to started making our way down to the gardens, and we was just out back one time, kicking it, and Moondog Spot come out, and next thing I knew, we were at a 4th of July party, had a ring set up in the barn, we were all basically tore up.
Right.
I mean, we were blasting, me, Red Dog, and my cousin Timmy, and that's how I got started, man. We went down the ring, beat the crap out of each other, and filmed it, and Moondog Spot seen it, and he pulled me off the side and says, "Hey, man, you want to wrestle?" And it went from there,
What was your first match? Do you remember?
Yeah, yep. My first match was with against a tag team, the Shooting Stars, and that was when we first broke out. And Shooting Stars were our first match, and then we battled the Marino brothers, and then we started battling people like Tommy Green and Black Bart, and just out there,
Yeah.
And then I did a lot of singles competition, but it got to where you get bored going up and down the road by yourself running singles, so I'd pick up a few tag team partners, or they'd pick me up, however you want to look at it,
right.
And we'd get us a good tag team name, like Red Dog. We called ourselves the Psycho Dogs, and God, we traveled, and we held belts. We held the ICW belts for a couple years, and I wrestled for a ton of organizations, Mike's organization there in St. Louis, Chet, TRWF, and Total All-Star Wrestling, and we just, and then like I said, I wrestled for guys like Ian Rotten. That's where I met Jamie and Doug Gilbert and Tracy Smothers and, them guys, and they were all, big names to me,
right.
Because I had seen them down at the Garden
Yeah.
before I broke into the business, And it was just, it was lucky, it was luck. And then when I got good, I could do things, I could, human karatas off the top, do whatever I wanted off top rope, met, like I said, when I met them guys, Jamie, they helped me out, as far as showing me some Memphis style stuff, and just being there, giving me advice, and when I finally broke out on my own singles, it wasn't too long. I was ranked 13th in the sports magazine, PW.
That's cool.
And Rookie of the Year, and it's pretty cool. I've been to organizations. I won a 2-ring battle royal one time and got trophies, and like I said, I've held belts. I've done it.
Now, was it you that broke your leg in E-Town?
At BBW. Yep, I was wrestling Cowboy. I can't remember his name, but
Cool.
we were in the ring, and he got out of the ring, and he's leaning on the apron, and I thought, hey, this would be a good time to do a baseball slide and kick him right in his face, I slid, and there was a buckle in the mat, and snapped it, snapped my leg. And, I tried to finish the match. I couldn't, what I'm saying? I went home, laid up, and then I was back the next weekend with a broken leg. I was reffing for BBW, Joe Bailey and JC and them guys, JC, when I first started working with Joe Bailey and BBW, JC was just a little turd.
Yeah.
He was a little big fart. And seeing him grow up around the ring, man, just, how good he became. It was.
What about your bloodiest match?
Oh, bloodiest match I would have to say was when I had turncoat. I was Psycho Kid, and I was in the asylum, and Kentucky Slugger #2, Robert, hit me with a baseball bat and split my head wide open. It was It was a mess.
Pretty bloody.
Yeah, it was bloody.
What are some of your overall favorite matches of your career?
Oh, matches that I did with Madman Pondo, Too Tough Tony, Corporal Steve Robinson, Izzy High, the American Kickboxer. You know, we had Harry Palmer. We had some off-the-chain matches. Me and Jamie, you know, we've had some good matches. You know, one or two. But that was when I first met him years ago at IWA when I wrestled for Ian. You know, and that's where I met Frank, kickboxer, and you know, he was so quick. He was bad, boy, and he taught me some karate moves and some stuff that, you know, helped me out down the road. You know.
All right, I'm gonna name some guys off to you here, and you just give me your thoughts on them, okay? The first one is Joe Bailey.
Good guy, man. You know, he ran a good organization. You know, tight. Always paid his guys, and that was a big thing. You know, and he wouldn't let nobody get a big ego. You know, if they started getting a big ego, he would trim them down quick. You know.
JC.
JC was a wild child, man. You know, he crazy. He would try anything, do anything. You know, and that's what really separated him from a lot of the guys that were with BBW. You know, him and Simon Says did some things that some of these guys, older guys, were impressed with, and you know.
Yeah. Simon Says is next.
Simon Says. Simon's loud. He's a good dude. Wrestles his ass off. He'll give you everything he's got in the ring. You know what I'm saying? And just a well-spoken cat. You know what I mean?
Sluggers is next.
Robert and Jerry. Older guys like to keep things slow. You know what I'm saying? But two dudes that would just give you the shirt off the back, take you anywhere you needed to go, you know, just help you out whenever they could, you know.
Manslaughter.
Manslaughter. Dangerous, you know what I mean? Big, can really put a hurting on you if you ain't careful, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, just big old giant, baby giant, you know.
Alistair Fear.
Me and Alistair had some great matches at BBW. You know, wasn't scared to accept the challenge. Me and him did a couple running battles for months and months. You know, and it got bad. People losing their hair, eating dog food. You know, me and him had some gory, bloody matches too.
The Judge.
The Judge. Guy, I mean, just awesome dude. You know, took great care of me. The night I broke my leg, carried me to the car. You know, carried me in my house, laid me in my bed, propped my feet up. You know, the Judge is just, he's an awesome dude.
And the last one is Vic the Bruiser. Did you work with him there?
I worked with Vic. I did a few shows with Vic. Vic didn't play. You know, he was straightforward. He wanted things done his way, and if you didn't do them his way, he put a hurting on you.
Let's talk about the dog food match.
The dog food match between me and Alistair. Well, you know, we started this match. You know, I was gonna be nice, man, and you know, I knew what was going to happen. I knew I was going to get vicious. I'm sneaky, you know, so when it came down to it, he lost the match, and we sat him down and shoved a spoonful of dog food in his mouth, and I'm talking, this was the real deal,
yeah,
man, you know. And he gagged and was throwing up and made me mad, so I sat down in the corner and I ate the rest of the dog food.
That's funny.
Ate the whole can.
Let's talk about enemies in the business.
Yeah, I've had a few of them. You know, me and Red Dog, when we were Cycle Dogs, was doing IWA, or no, ICW. And when we first started working for this organization, we told the owners that if you ever put the belts on us, you'll have to bring in a tag team to literally take them, because we're not going to give them up to anybody that works in this organization. We don't feel they're good enough.
Right.
And they did. You know, they put the belts on us, and we held them for 2 years, and they wanted us to lose them, and we told them no. So they brought some guys down from Indianapolis to take the belts from us. And me and Red Dog pulled into the parking lot and smoking a big fat hooter. And sure enough, man, these cats rolled down the window. Red Dog said, "Look at these guys, man." He rolled down the window and he said, "We're going to take y'all's belts tonight." Red Dog just kind of chuckled, rolled the window up. We just thought they were fans. So we go up there and we get in the locker room, and Rock and Roll Rebel pulls us off to the side and he said, "You know, man, General and Mason Dixon brought these guys from Indianapolis to take them belts from you all, literally." And we said, "All right." So me and Red Dog went to the ring, and you know, Red Dog told him, said, "Look, first time y'all get ignorant, it's over." Well, I'm wrestling the guy, we're doing our thing, he slams me, he runs over and punches Red Dog right in the mouth. Red Dog kind of shook it off, mad, you know. He picked me up and gave me elbow, and you know, next thing I knew, picked me up, slammed me, run over and punched Red Dog in the face. It was over with. Red Dog pinned him in a corner, started beating his brains out, and fight broke out. They ended up going. No, they didn't go up to get their stuff. They went straight to the car, left all their shoes, tennis shoes, wallets, IDs, and everything. They jumped in their truck and left. Sean Benham was another ass-baked motherfucker that tried to be slick. You know, we was wrestling, and I told him before it started, "Don't hit me with no fucking cowbell." And son of a bitch hit me with the cowbell. We commenced throwing down in the ring, straight up throw down Duke City.
Let's talk about some of the companies that you worked for.
Oh.
No, you worked with the N. It was in IWA, right?
IWA, he was out off Dixie Highway then. And
Kmart, was that the Kmart building?
Yep,
Okay.
the Kmart. And, you know, it was one of the gigs that started me out with Psycho Kid, you know, that put me out there and let me do my gimmick the way I wanted. And, you know, that's where I met a lot of the Memphis boys, like I said. And become real good friends with them. Traveled, you know, back and forth, did a few things for them guys, you know, just having fun. And you know, IWA was fun, but, you know, it was more of a bloody battlefield than, you know, the old style wrestling that I was used to. You know?
What about ICW?
ICW was a good company to work for, but they were just a little greedy. You never made what you really needed. You know, they didn't really advertise like they should, but you know, it was a great fun organization to work with. You know, the guys that worked with ICW that ran it and operated and wrestled for it, they were you know, they were all a bunch of good dudes. They, you know, they did the best in trying to treat us outsiders, you know, as family.
TWA, is that one?
TA, Total All-Star Wrestling.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, that was one of my buddy Too Sexy Chet Robbins' adventures, and like I said, he's another great dude, you know, that I tagged with. When I met him, you know, we hit it off, real good friends, and we started tagging, and we were called the Sexy Psychos, you know, and we just had, you know, another guy that went up and down the road and just, you know, played jokes on each other, did crazy shit, and had a ball, you know.
BBW?
BBW was the very first organization that once I was out of my contract with Spot, that gave me a shot. You know, Joe Bailey he had some good guys coming in, you know, just Nature Boy Buddy Landell, you know, and them guys were coming in, and you know, it was Dutch Mantel, and these are guys that you know, I grew up watching.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? These are guys that I want, you know, and it was just beautiful, you know, to my career, you know, because I always had good matches. There were always a packed house, you know. Joe knew how to run a show, you know, and I've been with a lot of organizations. I didn't make as much with Joe as I did with, you know, some of the other places when I went to like Missouri and Texas, and but it was just the family feeling that Joe gave you, you know. It was he always took care of you, you know. He wanted to feed you, you know, he'd give you the drinks. You know, a lot of companies don't do that. You know, they don't bring stuff in and feed the wrestlers,
right.
Big buffet tables, and you know, Joe did that, you know, and took it out of his own pocket for the organization, you know.
Is there any other companies you'd like to talk about?
Oh, true. I could talk about a bunch of them, man. Mid-South Wrestling, I guess, was Pondo hooked me up. Him and Frank hooked me up out there with a guy, a promoter named Mike, and you know, he fly us in, roll us around in limousines. You know, about all you didn't have to pay for no food while you were there. You know, you always made 150, 175 a show. You know, I did a double stretch for him, man, and Friday and Saturday night, and I'll tell you what, dude, it was the best time, and just traveling like that, you know, flying, my first time flying, so I flew with Too Tough Tony, and we're sitting on a plane. He says, "Hey, man, come here and look out the window," and looking out the window, and he shoves me like that, man. You screamed, and everybody on the plane turned around looking at me, you know. I said, "I gotta have a beer, man." So we sat there and yeah, we got us a buzz, you know. Next 45 minutes in the air, we was hammering them. Yeah. And I've traveled with Too Tough Tony quite a bit. You know, he's one of the guys that you know, we used to just pulverize on when we wanted to train. We'd rent a ring and just beat the tar out of him and Chris and whoever else wanted to, you know, and it was a blast, man. When me and Tony started running up and down the road, we did a show for Big TW Splash Legend Show, and the bartender told us that I'll give all the wrestlers a $25 tab for drinking, you know. And me and Tony got out there, and we'd say, "Oh, so-and-so said we could drink their tab." We ended up drinking 3 or 4 people's tabs that night. And I'm so blasted. I'm sitting in the back seat like this, just bouncing around. And I guess I got sick, man. Tony drugged me out, and I puked all over his new tennis shoes. And he had to go home, and man, his wife just was, woo, she was ready to kick his ass. She was ready to whoop him.
What's your thoughts on the wrestling business as a whole right now?
WWE's monopolized. You know, Vince is just took everything from the independents. You know, I mean, the smaller organizations can stay afloat in small towns. You know, country backwater towns that you have to travel miles and miles to get to a good, you know, a mainline show.
Right.
You know, the independence is for the people who can't, that love to watch wrestling on TV but can't go visit that show that cost them, you know, $40-50 a ticket or $20 a ticket. You know, and I know the caliber of stars you see, you know, but like the way it is now, you know, it's more of a entertainment. You know, it's more of a soap opera,
right, yeah,
than a true, down-to-earth, good old-fashioned wrestling.
Favorite memory of your career?
I guess when I was in, doing the show in Missouri, I was doing a 3-way with Pondo and Harry Palmer, and Harry Palmer had a pretty good size Johnson hanging to his knees, you know. You could see it pulling through his pants, but I had a thing that I would do, you know. Most people knew when I got you on your back and hugged you up and spread your legs out, I was going to take a bite of your nuts. You know what I mean? That was my nut. That was my. And I bit on old Harry's Johnson. Had a good grip on it. Old Pondo grabbed me by the feet and dragging me, and that was American Kickboxer. As a matter of fact, it wasn't Pondo. It was American Kickboxer. Grabbed my feet and started dragging me, and I had a mouthful of that Johnson, and we were dragging across the ring, and people were going crazy, and you know, yeah, I'd have to say that was my most memorable. You know what I'm saying? Most.
Yeah. What about best and worst promoters?
Well, best promoters I would say would be BBW. You know, they were always out there doing. They were for the wrestlers. You know what I mean? They knew Joe knew the wrestling business. He knew what it took to get the people in the seats. You know, he knew he had to walk and beat his feet and you know, get the flowers out there and the radio time and everything. And as far as best promotions, you know, I'd have to say BBW, CCW when I worked for the Drifter, TRWF, you know, when I worked for the Sluggers. That was a real good organization. My buddy Chet, Too Sexy, you know, everything he puts his hands on as far as wrestling show, you know, it's well promoted. You know, a lot of people in the seats, and it's a well-rounded show. And as far as worst, I would have to say Linda Walker had a couple boys that did a show. Linda was great, man. She was another lady that really let us have our careers here in Louisville and Kentucky and Indiana and Delphia. You know, she was another one. But as far as worst promotions, I would almost have to say it was when I worked for Linda Walker, because her boys just wouldn't advertise or put it out there and really needed to, you know, get it out there.
Right. Who are some guys in the business you respect the most?
Oh, Lord. Madman Pondo, Izzy High, American Kickboxer, Joe Bailey, The Judge, Red Dog, Sluggers, you know, these guys, you know, Rock and Roll Rebel, General Lee, you know, these are some of the guys that really just, you know, Bulldog Bobby Long, you know, The Assassin.
We're getting evil looks from that side of the room.
Yeah, a few of them guys she don't care for very much.
What about most heat that you got from the crowd?
Oh, I guess when I was running as a slugger and I was doing the tag team, and we was in Indy doing a TV taping, and we took the belts from Indiana Kid Jr. and the Rocker, and yeah, we had, you know, we had to have we had to have police escort us out of the building all the way to the interstate. You know,
good stuff.
Oh, it got wild. You know, it got wild. There was just, you know, there's a ton of people that influenced me when I first got in the business. You know, T.W. Splash, Bulldog Bobby Long, Jamie Dundee, you know, Doug Gilbert, you know, just Tracy Smothers, you know, a lot of them Memphis boys. When I worked with them, it was just awesome. Bandman Pondo. I could go on, you know.
Yeah.
Purple Rain. Shoot, there was just so many people that I wrestled. Alistair Fear and just guys that I wrestled and have a real good time with, you know.
What made you leave the wrestling business?
Well, I got into a car accident, and I broke my back. You know, I knew I wasn't going to be able to ever get in the ring, and if I hadn't had the car wreck, broke my back, I guarantee I'd still be running hard. You know what I mean? I'd still be out there doing whatever I could. Right. You know.
What about your snuggest opponent?
My what?
Like, who's the stiffest in the ring?
Oh, Lord, the stiffest I ever wrestled? Oh, I'd have to say Red Dog.
Okay.
You know, if I got to put it out there, that,
Yeah.
you know, the stiffest guy I ever wrestled was Red Dog. You know, he'd flog your freaking head, dude. You know, you'd wake up going, hey, man, what the hell? You know, and just mean, you know, just he'll do anything to you. He don't care. You know.
Favorite city or town?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'd have to say favorite town. That's a hard one. I'd have to say Osceola, Arkansas.
Okay.
You know, when I was up there doing a little bit for Moondog Spot, you know, that was, you know, he's another one that was rough. You know, he put a hurting on me too. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'd have to say, you know, Osceola, you know, because I stayed up there and you know, it was just a big change. I'd never really done much traveling, you know, and you know, I was a homebody. You know, I was a bouncer. You know, that was my thing. I just, you know, and when I got out there, you know, I was staying with Spot and Wormy and the kids, and which are all grown up now, you know, they're in, I guess, 20s or 30s. You know, it's, but yeah, that's it.
Okay, now, was you around in BBW when they were having the Joe Bailey and Rotten War?
I did, I kind of bounced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did a little for Joe, did a little for Ian, and yeah, they pulled wrestlers from each other, and you know, it got pretty ugly.
Because I heard a lot about it.
It got pretty ugly, man. You know, they were stealing signs and tearing each other's shit up, and you know, you know, like you said when we first started talking, man. You know, it's mostly politics.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
you got to be more of a politician anymore than a wrestler. And you know, mainstream, turning it from a sport into an entertainment. You know, it's kind of hurt the business. Yeah.
If you could have wrestled one guy from any era, who would it be?
I guess it would have to be handsome boogie woogie man.
Okay, Jimmy Valley.
Jimmy Valley.
All right.
You know, I did some stuff in Georgetown with him and the Fargos, and you know, he's fun, dude. You know, he's just fun. You know.
Ever had to shoot on anyone in the ring?
Sean Venom, a couple guys from Indianapolis, a couple rookies that I was working for ICW, and did the corkscrew plunger from the top rope to the outside, and you know, nobody was there to take the punishment. You know, they kind of separated and moved, and we the outdoor show, and I bounced off a concrete head first, and when you know I got up and got my senses, I kind of took a chair and beat the tar out of both of them.
Right. Locker room fights. Seen any good locker room fights?
Yeah, I seen Ox Harley and the dude that I broke my leg against, Cowboy. I can't think of his name, but yeah, they had one in the locker room, and you know, they were tearing shit up, weights being thrown, you know, and it was a bad one.
Did Ox Harley win?
I'd have to say yeah,
Okay.
you know, because Ox just didn't play around. You know, he told him he'd kill him.
Right. What do you think is the biggest difference in guys getting in the business today than when you got in?
The training. Guys nowadays, you know, these small independent organizations, you know, they'll use anybody because you know, it's cheap labor. You know, it's just like anything else. You know, you're going to use the cheapest material that you can. You know, and it's, you know, that's the big issue, is the training. You know what I mean? Because nowadays guys are just, you know, they go in their backyard, they start beating the tar out of each other, and put a few videos out there. They get a call, they go, and you know, to me, it was always about the fans. You know,
Right.
it wouldn't bother, you know, when I went to a show, I didn't care if I was the first match out, middle match, last match, you know, I gave 110%, and it was for the fans, you know.
Yeah.
That's the whole key, you know, entertaining the fans, making them hate you or love you, you know, making them love to hate you.
Right. What do you miss the most about wrestling?
The camaraderie. You know what I mean? The sitting around in the locker room and bullshitting, you know, just having the family of brothers that you know you can talk to, you know, they'll do anything in the world for you. I don't know, man, you know, when I first broke in this business and I learned it was cutthroat politics, you know, and but I also learned that guys will travel 1,000 miles if you need them, no matter what. You know, when I had my car wrecked, my wrestling family, they held shows, they were at the hospital, they brought my family to see me, they 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, they pick up the phone and call them and they're there, you know. It's just, that's what I miss more than everything, you know, just sitting in that locker room with the camaraderie and the friendship with all them guys.
You have any regrets in your career?
I regret leaving Arkansas when Spot begged me to stay there. You know what I mean? He wanted me to stay, and I didn't do it. You know, and that's probably my biggest regret, not given the chance to do wrestling 100% flat out right. You know, no holds bar. You know, stick your neck out there and just do it. You know, and that's probably what I regret most of all. Treating it like a hobby instead of a career. You know, not putting all my effort into trying to make that my sole number one priority. You know, but I had family. You know, I had to have that steady money coming in so my family could have a roof over their head, food in their stomach. You know.
How do you want to be remembered from your time being a wrestler?
I guess just, you know, that the wrestling fans and all the wrestling community and that just know that I give 100% to them to entertain them, to make them feel like they got their money's worth in the show, you know.
Okay. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to say or talk about in an interview?
Well, you know, I mean, I like to put it out there for some of the younger guys who are not getting the training, you know, or the stuff they need to really be professional and worthy of watching, you know, because if you don't put on a good show and you don't try to make yourself look great, make the fans feel great, make your opponent look great, you know, it takes two to put on a great match, and actually three to put on a great match, because you know the referee's a big part of, you know, getting the wrestlers and everybody the way, you know, they need to be, knowing what is going on, knowing, you know, what promoter wants.
Right.
You know, that's the biggest issue with the business today. There's just so many people that can, you know, so many people that have been just bouncing in the backyards and jumping off the roof of their house and you know, I mean, I understand, you know, Mick Foley, that's how he got started. You know, he sent the tape in, jumping off a roof, you know, and people thought, wow, he's a nutcase. And then everybody, you know, started picking up the backyard and beating each other to death. And don't get me wrong, you know, I was trained. You know, I was trained by one of the best. And when I first started, that, you know, we just beat the tar out of each other, had it on video. Guy seen it, he pulled me off, said, "You want to learn how to wrestle?" And I did, you know, and like I said, a lot of these guys, you know, they just don't know the roundabout way to do what they need to do, have the training and the knowledge of knowing what to say, how to do it, and putting on a great show. Because it's not about the wrestlers. A lot of the wrestlers now just have such big heads that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They just, you know, they're superstars, and it was, for me, it wasn't about that. You know what I mean? I love to hear the crowd scream. Don't get me wrong. You know, when I was loving it. And but it was all about the fans, you know. I didn't care that, you know, I made $40, you know what I mean, for the show when it cost me $80 to get there, you know, and I had to buy a motel room and all that. That didn't bother me, you know, as long as the fans got their money's worth and they were happy, the promoter was happy, you know, that's what I cared about. And you know, the business today has changed quite a bit from when I broke into it in 1990. You know, but I wouldn't change what I did for the world. I loved it. It was a fun time in my life, you know, that I'm glad I pursued. You know, I do regret not, like I said, not putting 100% into making it a career, but I don't know if I would get into wrestling today if I had the chance, just for the simple fact that I don't trust the guys out there that are no training, because that's how somebody's going to get hurt. You know, broken neck, just somebody's going to get hurt. You know, and it's going to put a damper on a lot of the smaller organizations when somebody gets hurt bad enough to be put out there, and people are knowing, hey, these guys held a backyard show, charged money, and one got a broken neck, and it's going to catch up to the guys who shouldn't be in the business.
Well, thanks, man.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate y'all coming out, man. I appreciate the interview.
Thanks for doing it with me.